Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this experiment, and it is going to be an experiment, I want to work with a cheesecloth and I want to do some staining on it and try some stamping on it. So I'm going to tell you what I've got on the table right now. I did do a little bit of planning on this because I had to make sure that the layers were going to work. But if I don't use stuff or if I bring stuff out, I'll let you know as I progress. So I've got a piece of cardboard packaging here. And it doesn't matter what size because you can use these for, different pieces. But this is 2.5 by 3.5. It's quite thick. It's a coffee package. And so I've got that. And then I've got my paint. So I've got my DecoArt Media Fluid Acrylics. Now I've got a lot here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all. Phthalo Green Blue, Henty Yellow Light, Burnt Sienna, Transparent Red Iron Oxide, Carbon Black, Cobalt Turquoise Hue, Pyrrole Orange. And the DecoArt Matte Metallics, this is their flat metallic paint, soft silver. I've got a stamp here, and stamps, it doesn't matter, but these are new ones that I picked up from Stampendous. It's just for the this crackle thing here, and the texture. See, I love these. So I've got that. How I'm going to use it, I don't know. My archival ink. And see, and I've got a little Tim Holtz cutout here, little boy sitting down. And again, it doesn't matter what the elements are. You just kind of alter what you want. If you want to get some free stuff, go to graphicsfairy.com. She's got some really good stuff. And I cut out this clock from some old scrapbook paper from years ago. I think I got this at Michael's. And then I've got these little gears that I cut out using my that thingy where you put the die in the big shot. You guys call it a big shot. The Vagabond. It's the machine where you put a die in it with paper and you roll it through. Yeah, one of those. I got these little gears. You can buy them as well. I've got a whole bag of metal ones, but I wanted this to be light. Little scissors. Let's see. I've got a quote that says, "Stay curious." And I cut that out, and you can get little mini stamps really cheap, probably at the dollar store for that. Look in the dollar bin at Michael's if you have one. Brush, and I got a tiny paper cord. I have no idea where this came from, but it's really thick. But I'm going to use that as a little roller. All right. Oh yeah, and the DecoArt Chalky Gesso, and I put it into a small little thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime this. Just a little bit of gesso and get that primed, and just using a small brush. Now the back, if you're using packaging, if you're going to do these as actual trading cards to trade, then, or any artwork to sell, it doesn't matter. You'll want to finish the back. You can put a label on it or paint that as well. Oh, it's been about a month since I've been in the studio to create. My arthritis has been really bad this December, so we'll see how it goes. It's the cold. Joe and I right now should be in the Caribbean, staying for the winter there, but you know why we're not there. Okay, so we got that. So that takes care of that. And okay, and I'm going to clean that up. So while that's drying, what I'm going to do is, this is where I'm not sure if it's going to work, because usually I do this with a big brayer. I'm going to take some cobalt turquoise hue and dot it here and roll it, and then I'm going to take some pearl orange. But the cheesecloth is going to go on top of that, so we'll see how this is going to go. Now this, where's my heat gun? This is not dry yet. Oh, where's my heat gun? There we go. And dry that. I'm just going to speed up that drying time. Now, one of the reasons why I love that chalky gesso, look how matte that is. That is so flat. So if you've got stuff that's really shiny, that'll really flatten that out. Okay, so now these are really, I'll take 2 little dots. These go far because they're so full of pigment. Okay, so that takes care of those. So I'm going to put those over there to show what I used. And I'm just going to take that and I'll roll that first. And I'm just getting some random shapes and some texture. Ooh, I like that. I can see a Book of Backgrounds project happening here. See, put way too much paint out. Oh, and shoot. Okay, well, you let the blue dry first because blue and orange do not mix well wet. They dull each other out. So I'll just roll away. That is kind of cool. Now, by itself, I mean, these colors are not very nice together, but like when mixed together, but when you're side by side, they really stand out. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit more blue. And then I'm going to go into the orange, right about the middle. And what I'm looking for now is to get a little bit of dullness going on. But what I'm going to do, let's see if this works. I'm going to take a little bit of alcohol. And now, normally you would wear a mask when doing this because of the stuff. I'm going to hold my breath. Give that a second. The alcohol wets everything, but it dries really, really fast. And it also kind of dissolves it to give it that kind of that watercolor look. And while we're still here, I'm going to add a little bit more. And this is just the layers. You're just layering and layering and layering. Ooh, nice. All right. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry now. And not going to use a heat gun because there's rubbing alcohol in that. So that'll just take about a minute. All right, so that's dry. Now I'm going to put that aside. So I've got this cheesecloth, and just to show you what I was experimenting with, was just stamping on the actual cheesecloth. And just came out with some random shapes in that. And I wanted to see, because I wanted to do a project where I stamped on cheesecloth, but you can't do it while it's already on the piece because of all the texture and fibers. So I wanted to experiment with that. And just to show you what I did is, and I just picked this up at the dollar store. And I'm just gonna cut. Roughly cut, messy cut. Yeah, again, no patience. I need to work on my patience. I used to be a really patient person, but not anymore. I'm going to take that apart. And I'm going to find a part that's got really nice edges. Okay, I'm liking this here. All right, so I'm just going to take that. And I'm cutting it bigger than I need, because what I'll do is it'll go on this. So I'm just thinking of, I'm kind of looking, but then you can always trim. So I'm looking to do something like that. So what I had done is I took my ink, and again, I'm using the permanent ink because I don't want it to get wet. I don't want it to, oh, come on. I don't want it to smear when it gets wet. All right, So this kit also includes a really cool stencil. That's kind of pretty. It's thin though, but it's really pretty. All right, so I'm just gonna take one. You know what? I'm just gonna take a few pieces and see what I can get here. And I'm just doing this on top of a book, a sketchbook. That is kind of cool. That's neat. Okay, so let's take that one. I'm going to take some of the script. So what I'm noticing is that it's really, yeah, it gets some nice abstract shapes. I'm going to turn some sideways. These stamps are nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. What do we have here? I see another book of background starting. And let's just get these little doodads here. What's that one look like? Yeah. And don't be afraid of off stamping, so you only get half a shape. Okay, this one's really nice on this. Oh, look how the ink. Oh, I'm using the new stamp pad. So I'll have to make sure I clean that. What's this one? I think we have enough now. Just gonna look. Here. Right there. Oh, let's just use this one here. This is really random. Oh, and I didn't tell you what the name of that was, did I? Okay, hang on. And feel free, like here, I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to press that down. You don't have to use the whole stamp. That was one of the things that I always did when I was learning. Okay, close that. So this is called, what is this called? Cling Grunge Stamp from Stampendous. Yeah, you get the stencil as well. It's got some really nice things in there. All right, so I don't waste your time. I'm just going to put that there and going to put that there. I'll clean that after and put that over here. All right. Yeah, I see another book of backgrounds here. That is so cool. All right, put that aside. Out of room. And of course, I forgot to bring it out. Excuse me for a second. Oh, matte medium. Oh. And I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to glue it making sure that the interest, I've got some good interest right over here because a little boy is going to be sitting on here. Yeah. So I'm just gonna, then I can cut it after it's dry. So you can use, now I'm going to put the matte medium over the whole piece. Now you can use gel medium if you want because it's nice and thick. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can use, that you can adhere that and just really experiment. I put one thin layer on and then I'm going to put a thick layer because this is fiber. And then I'll put that on, pushing that cheesecloth into the piece. And it'll dry transparent. Now you know what else you can do? I wonder if that'll work. You can also wrap that right around the back to hide everything that's back here. Wrapping always makes it stronger. Okay, so what's going to be interesting is if we're actually going to... Whoops, cheese scratched my mat. Oopsie. Oh, and I know I'm going to get questions because I always do. This is the unstick mat. You can get that on Amazon. It's a Canadian product. But you can get it on Amazon. Unstick, and it's huge. It's massive. That's why I absolutely love it. Plus, you know, supporting a local business. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry. And then I'm going to trim it right here. Now you don't really get to see a lot of the pieces. The text is still showing through, but the actual circle stamp, it kind of got distorted, but that's okay. We're going to see what happens after all the matte medium has cleared up and what it looks like when it's dry. Okay, so the idea now is to get him here. So this is where I'm going to have to try to tone this down just a little bit because I want the quote to stand out. Now it does stand out quite nicely, so you don't want to make it too light. There, something like that. And I want to put the gears here. So the gears, I'm going to, now I did do some prep just to make sure how it was going to look. I wanted something contrasting, so the silver actually turns out quite nicely, but I don't like how shiny it is. So what I'm going to do, okay, first let me do this, and so I'm also on a new mission to go to the next page. Oh yeah, and when I clean my stamps, I put rubbing alcohol on them and I clean them and I re-stamped here to get some really cool imprints. Whether or not that's how you're supposed to clean them, I don't know. I don't care. But why won't this turn? Oh, it's stuck. Okay. I'm on a mission now to try to waste as little paint as possible. Putting it on here, then wiping it off was something I wasn't supposed to do. What I'm trying to get used to doing is doing everything on paper, which also creates backgrounds. All right. So I'm going to use, let's use this. Let's just see what that does. Just looking at changing the color a little bit. Yeah, that turned out nice. I think that might be a little light. Yeah, might be a little. Nope, it's all right. It's all right. Gives us some texture too. Like a paintbrush will flatten things out, but with the roller, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. You get some of that texture to look like it's, the metal is really rough. Boy, my mouth is rented. I'm having a heck of a time trying to explain things. That's what happens when you're away from doing stuff for about a month. All right. Now, I'm not even going to use the heat gun on that. I'll put that over there. Now I'm going to do some prep on some stuff while that's drying. Let's do this first. I'm going to take titanium white, not gesso because it's going to be too thick. A little bit of titanium white, just a speck, against the media acrylics. And I've got a little bit of water in my brush, and all I want to do is just come in here to see how that's going to, I want to tone it down just a little bit. Yeah, okay, this is where I'm going to come in now. I want to create a wash of, no, I was going to dip right into the bottle, but I don't like doing that. I want just a dot. Okay, so I did the Hansa Yellow Light and the Phthalo Green Blue. And let's just get a little bit of water in there. And you can use matte medium as well for this. And I'm just going to put that where the white is. Not so we're about there because of the little boy's going to be there. Then take a paper towel, dry area, and just blot that. All I was looking to do is just do a light stain. Not light enough. And then what I'm going to do is go over it after with white. There we go. Just like, I know it kind of looks like crap right now. And gonna dry that. What I'm doing is I'm accenting the cheesecloth. See how the cheesecloth is standing out now? Let's just knock this back just a little bit. And just gonna touch over, laying my brush flat. Oh, the clock is gonna go here. I'm not gonna worry about that. And by using some water in with the white, is that everything that's underneath is going to show through. And just where it's a little bit heavy, just going to put a little bit more white. Yeah. Dry that again. And by laying your brush sideways, you're just hitting the ridges. And what you'll also get with that is the more fluid your paint is, it's going to seep inside. But the firmer your paint is, it's going to skim the top. And you can use that as well for, even with metallics, to accent the edges. See the difference? The green. Okay, so that's that. Didn't I just say I was going to start putting this in that book so I didn't waste paint? Bad me. All right, so put that aside. Now I'm going to take the carbon black, and I could use the stamp pad for that, and a yeah, I'll just do this with a kitchen wipe, and I'm just going to just go outside the edges, and it's just to get rid of the white of the paper. You can use a brush. I actually may come in with a little round brush for this. Sometimes when I use a round brush, because I'm always in a hurry now, is sometimes I get too much on the actual piece. Like now I got some on his head, but that doesn't matter. So that's that. And I'm going to do the clock as well. The clock I did not cut straight, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be cutting that in half. I already measured it. And what this does is it pulls it away from the background. You can also just come in. You can use cosmetic sponge. I'm almost out, so I didn't want to use those up. Now, if you wanted to do a stain, like I'm just going to show you here. So because this stuff is coated cardstock, there's a shiny layer. So I can create a light stain on that. You can take any paper and give it a varnish, like I say, a gloss varnish. Let that dry, and then come in and blend that, and then we'll get a stain. And then when it's dry, then you can come over with a matte varnish or the matte medium to remove some of the shine. You can use, you can use matte medium, as the base layer, but that's really you're gonna have a hard time blending sometimes, depending on the brand that you're using. See how it gets really, really old. And you can do this as much as you want. I'm going to do a lot on the bottom just to show you, because I have to cut this off anyways. But coming into the piece, then taking the cloth and blending it out. See? You just get that real grunge look, which is what we're going for here. See, that's dried now. I'm stuck. That's dried. I waited too long. So, because it's coated cardstock, take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and look what happens. Comes right off. So there's ways, you just have to find what works. See? You just gotta find what works. Now, if you want to use a brush, so use a round brush, and you can just come in and draw. Now this is a little bit harder on the brush. Oops, see? That's a little bit harder on the brush. So just be careful about the pressure you're using. But honestly, the best thing is like a cosmetic sponge. That's the better way. And if you've got these little blocks here, you can use that as well. Like these are, this is a Tim Holtz, but any wood block, just staple a piece of Velcro, the hard part, and then this is just a piece of felt, and come in and just do that. And I like using paint because it's permanent. Now, what I did find out is that Grenier does have permanent ink in their lineup now. So you could use, if you like using Grenier products, the products are really good, that you can do that now. But look how grungy that is. And then I measured it, going to cut it. But that now is going to be permanent. So I'm going to put that in water, see if I can get something else out of it. So that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, and just have to do this. Now this I will do with the stamp pad. And I'm just going to touch the edge. Ideally, if my hands were clean. Hopefully I'm not going to get any. So I'm just going side by side like this. And then I'm going to tilt it in. And just give it a light graze. It puts a little bit of ink on the inside. Now this, I have to say, did take practice to master the pressure, but you get a really nice effect. It's the fiber. You get a nice effect. I don't like using a brush on this stamp pad. And if you want this to be glossy, you can just varnish it after the fact. That's smelly. Okay. All right, so far I've used everything, and I don't think I'm going to need to use the burnt sienna, but the transparent red iron oxide, I'm not sure if I'm going to need that. We'll have to see. Oops, that's not quite dry yet, so I'm going to let that sit for another minute. Now, you know what's interesting? The ink is almost dissolved on some parts, so now I know this stuff is archival, so I'm not sure, so I'm going to stamp again, but I'm just going to take this one. I'm going to go here to see how. Doing that quite lightly. Yeah, that's really pretty. Yeah, I'm not sure why it, because I do know that it is archival. I know that for sure. So now I'm going to take, where's that other piece? This one here, it's got a line with some text, so I'm just going to take that right here. Okay, so it does stamp. It's You know, and it's not, sorry about that alarm, that's medication time. It does stamp nice, but you don't see a lot of the pattern, where you just see enough interest in there. Oh, and Joe just came home. All right, so let me just put this aside and cover that up. All right. So now it's time to start assembling some stuff. So what I did is I positioned the little boy on the clock just by hand, and then I kind of positioned him, okay, where do I want him to be? So I want him to be right about there. Excuse me. Then pressed, turned it over. Oh, it was close. And then what I did is I drew a line so I knew where to cut that out. So I'm going to take that. And yes, I could have done this after the fact. Oh, we lost. Where's my, nope. I think that cloth, I need to come back. Get that there. And let's do that again. I'm going to be a little more careful this time. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to touch the outside to get rid of that raw cardboard look. Now, with this particular cardboard, you do need a little bit more paint because it's one piece of cardboard, corrugation inside, and another piece of cardboard. And I like keeping this stuff rough. I don't like perfection. I've never been huge on the whole idea of perfection, because that stifles your creativity, because really perfection never exists. And then when you're trying to get everything perfect, you never finish anything. Okay, a bit more in there. All right, now put that in water. You dry yet? Yeah. So right about there and there. I cut that really crooked, didn't I? I got a glare, I can't see. So I'm going to go just past, because I can always trim it. There we go, like that. How off are we? Oh, just a little bit. Just a little bit. There's perfection, and then there's just making stuff, you know, pleasing to the eye. And I'll edge that after. Matte medium. And okay, we'll glue that down. I'm going to need a little bit of a thicker coat on this, because it's got to go through all of that. I'm surprised Mia hasn't come up and said, "Mommy, feed me." Joe's going to feed her. He knows I'm doing a video. And this little beauty is going to go right here. I love these little guys. And yeah, so this is the paper dolls from Tim Holtz. There's a ton in the package. Like it's really good. But if you guys, there you can look at stuff on, you know, Graphics Fairy as well. She's got some beautiful stuff on there. Quite the variety, and you can really use your creativity on, you know, creating some different, how to use the pieces. She's got a membership too, but a lot of her stuff is free. A lot of her stuff is free. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to put something heavy on this. Oh yeah, that's gonna have to a little bit more in here because of the cheesecloth. That's okay though. There we go. All right, and then I'm kind of liking the dark silver. That's too light. I'm gonna go with the dark. Now while I'm here, I'm going to, now the dark silver was done with the Extreme Sheen tin. That's what the dark is. So I put it on there, and then I'm going to put it underneath the clock, just like that. I put the matte medium right on top, that way it's not going to be super shiny. And then this one here, we'll just overlap it. Connects all three pieces. And a piece of wax paper on top of that. That's going to hold everything flat. Now, while I'm here, might as well do this too. Not going to press it down yet. This is the one I'm not sure how it'll fit. It's a little long. Oh, crap. You know what? Why not? Right on top. There we go. Nope, not that way, on an angle. If you're going to have it overlap, make it intentional. Okay. And if you do have water-soluble material in your hands, like if you're using distress ink or anything, watercolors, clean your hands first. I'm okay doing this because this is all permanent. But if I was doing this with watercolor crap on my hands, then it would all come off. Look at that. How beautiful is that? So while I'm here, I'm going to take some matte medium. I'm going to come in. And it's going to put some matte medium around the rest of the piece. Especially around the edge, because I want it to stay put. So I think next time I will, when I'm using the fiber, I will come in with the heavy gel medium. Because I can always come over with a gloss varnish. That's lifting up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put some pressure on that. Now the beauty, do I still have it? Yep. So I have a piece, you can use wax paper, which I don't have, but I have another piece of the mat, so I can put that right there. Then you need something hard to go in between. You can't just put something like that because it's going to leave a ring. So you need something hard on there. So what I can do is I can take a journal, okay, put that on top of there, and then put that there. That'll displace the weight, even it out. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit for, probably about a half an hour for it to really get tacky. Then I'll take everything off, let it air dry, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. So I'm just putting the final touches around the outside, and I'm using a Graphitint pencil. What color is this? Ivy. And you could do this with paint too, But I wanted to try again. It's all about experimenting. I just wanted to try to see what would happen if I did this over the cheesecloth. I've used this color before and I really like it. I like that. Let's see if I can get anything out of that. There we go. It's so pretty. Now, because this is water soluble, you can't do anything on top of it unless you fix it. You can fix it with a fixative. There's a white spot there. You can fix it with fixative or anything like a spray. I'm going to be done this piece now. A bit more water. There we go. Nice. Here we are. So what do you think? What do you think? What I learned from this, the biggest challenge was obviously using the stamping on the cheesecloth. So now I know that, okay, I need to do a little bit more experimenting with that to try different things, but I'm loving these stamps with this crackling thing. The other thing is matte medium on top of the cheesecloth. When collaging stuff, it does take extra time, because even though when I put the piece of the mat and the stuff, I let that sit for an hour. When I came back, it was still wet, obviously, because there's no air getting to it. But then I just left it open for 15 minutes and everything else dried up. So that was fine. Yeah, so that's basically about it. Just I need to do more experimenting with the cheesecloth, and what I'd like to do in another project is really experiment with really fluid, washy colors to stain the actual cheesecloth, to see what I can get out of that. I've worked with cheesecloth before using a tea stain, so I may do something with that. Now, the only color I didn't use these two colors. I didn't use burnt sienna and transparent red iron oxide. So I'll put those aside. So I will go over the colors again that I actually did use in case you came into the video late. So to do this piece, I used the Decor Media Fluid Acrylics Carbon Black, Phthalo Green Blue, Hansa Yellow Light, Cobalt Turquoise Hue, Pearl Orange, Titanium White. Then the Decor Matte Metallic. I had initially used Soft Silver, but it ended up being too light. I would come back. The actual piece here is done with the Decor Extreme Sheen tin, but because I didn't want it to be so shiny, I just put a little bit of matte medium on top to get rid of all the shine. Glued everything down with the Decor Media matte medium, and then used the chalky gesso to initially base everything, and then just some stamps. So that's about it. So I hope that you enjoyed this little project. Oh, there's some glare there. Hope that you enjoyed this little project and you'll give it a try. Let me know what you would have done different, or if you created a version off of this. I'd love to see it. So if you're watching this on YouTube, post a link to your Facebook page where you've got the piece put in, or you can go right to the Art Place Facebook page. The link is in the description below, and you can post your picture over there. All right. So until I see you in the next video, stay inspired.